Pruning your hellebores in early spring is not only easy, it's also very satisfying and fun. Why? Because as you prune away the battered leaves of each hellebore, you uncover more and more of their lovely early blooming spring flowers. It's like opening up a beautiful gift, and it's easy and wonderful, and you are guaranteed to smile. I'm Laura from Garden Sanity. Let me show you exactly what I mean. First, here's a few quick highlights about hellebores before I unveil my own. Hellebores are also called Lenten Rose or Christmas Rose because in colder zones they bloom in early spring, and in warmer zones they can bloom around Christmas in various places in the world. There are hundreds of varieties out there, with more being developed all the time. Some varieties and hybrids are sterile, and some varieties produce lots of seedlings, which isn't a bad thing if you love hellebores. How do you know which ones produce seedlings versus not? Honestly, your best bet is to use the internet and poke around a lot. That's what I did. Hellebores are perennial and evergreen, although their older leaves can get a bit battered by the end of the winter, as I'll show you. The flowers come in all kinds of wonderful colors. Honestly, it's amazing how many, which can make it hard to choose. Some of the varieties have nodding flowers, while others have flowers that are more upright. Hellebores are happy in U.S. gardening zones 3 to 9 and prefer shade in summer but sun in winter. The shade in summer can be partial shade or deep shade. Mine were in partial shade in southern New Jersey, zone 7, where it's hot and humid, and they did great last summer. They love moist but well-drained soil, and they love organic matter, so side dressing them with compost once a year is a great idea, and that might be all you need to do, depending on how good your soil is. You can also fertilize them if you want to with a basic organic slow-release fertilizer. I like to use Plant Tone by ASPCA. If you go the fertilizer route, use it in spring when they're blooming and mid-fall when they'll be getting ready to start pushing out their flower buds. These flowers supposedly last a couple of months. We shall see, as this is my first full spring with them. Deer and rabbits hate these plants. But also a key point, hellebores are toxic to dogs and cats. So if you have outdoor pets that are curious, please be careful. In fact, I'll put a link in the description area below for a poisonous plants list that was put together by the ASPCA. It's a very comprehensive list, and if you have outdoor pets, you should definitely be aware of which plants are okay for your garden. My first time seeing them in person, as opposed to just seeing them in catalog photos or on the internet, was at the 2019 Philadelphia Flower Show. Oh, I fell in love. And you can see why, right? So fast forward to last spring, and I found a wonderful variety called Candy Love. I bought 3 of them and promptly planted them around what will hopefully be a wonderful redbud tree someday. The redbud is currently a stick, and that's a story you can learn about in the video link above, and I'll link to it at the end of this video for you as well. 2 months ago in mid-January, I was cleaning up the leaves in the backyard for the 94th time this year, and I spied something underneath the hellebore leaves. There they were. Actual flower buds were forming. I kept saying over and over to myself, it worked, it worked, it really worked. I'm getting flowers on my hellebores. It probably sounds silly to those of you already growing these wonderful plants, but I was filled with joy that I can grow hellebores. From then on, it became a study in patience as I've wanted to prune the old leaves away, but I also knew I had to wait a bit as I wanted the leaves to protect the developing flower buds. So it's early spring here in Zone 7, southern New Jersey, and now that they're blooming, and now that it's starting to warm up, it's time to prune the hellebores. But this pruning is different. I'm only going to prune away the yucky-looking leaves that got battered during the winter. Hellebore's evergreen leaves serve a few purposes during the non-blooming seasons. First, photosynthesis with the sun, providing nutrients to the plants through the leaves. The leaves provide a nice green color in the garden. And last, the leaves protect the flower buds as they begin to develop at the base of the plant. In fact, if you still have some leaves on yours that are perfectly green, feel free to leave some of them on the plant to continue doing its photosynthesis thing. But most of us will have some ugly-looking leaves by this point at the end of winter or early spring. The benefits of removing the battered leaves around the hellebore flowers and buds include, first, the soil around the plants will warm up quicker, and the second obvious reason is the flowers can now take center stage. So here are 2 important tips before pruning your hellebores. First, please make sure to wear garden gloves. Hellebores can be a skin irritant, and some gardeners can get a reaction from touching the leaves and stems. So rather than find out if that will happen to you, Wear gloves when handling them. And the second point is to make your pruning cuts carefully, because you don't want to accidentally remove any of the flowers, which grow from the base of the plant just like the leaves do. Choose a stem to remove and follow that stem down to the base. Make your cut there at the base of the stem. Again, be careful not to clip a flower stem while doing this. This is my first time pruning these, and I'm thrilled I didn't cut any flowers away. Notice how different the plant looks once all the old leaves are removed? It's amazing, and the flowers really shine. I've always said that daffodils are my favorite spring flower, but I've fallen in love with these hellebores, and now I see why some gardeners collect hellebores. It almost becomes a sub-hobby within gardening. And yes, I plan on adding more this year, I think to the middle front bed, where they can get the appropriate amount of shade during the summer months. Before growing these hellebores, I admit I was a bit afraid of trying. They seem so delicate, and I thought they'd be difficult to get established. But I couldn't have been more wrong. So I hope, in addition to seeing how easy it is to prune them, that I've also conveyed to you how easy they are to grow and how lovely they are in the spring garden. Until next time, happy gardening.